Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to show you how I painted this ivy leaf with watercolors in a realistic way. So my line drawing is ready on the paper, and for this I'll be using this light green mixture, which is sap green plus lemon yellow plus a little bit of Winsor blue green shade, and a dark green mixture which is sap green plus cerulean green plus a little bit of Winsor blue green shade. I've chosen this reference picture from unsplash.com. I start by glazing one small section of the leaf. I'll be working in different small sections on the leaf so that I can control my washes. And some of the main veins and the secondary veins, I have masked them off with my masking fluid. So this is how the water glaze looks, an even sheen of water. And then I start dropping colors. This is our light green mix. And when dropping colors, just ignore all the veins, only concentrate on the highlights that you have to leave. So being very careful near the edges. Even in this corner over here. And now I'm leaving all those highlights and just working around them. So now with a clean damp brush, I'm just lifting off all the highlighted areas. So this also stops the green color to go into our highlight areas. Like this. This is a lifting technique which I have explained in all my previous tutorials as well. A very helpful technique, especially while doing leaves. I'm just going to tease that color into that highlight zone. Dropping more color now. And now in this corner, I'm also dropping our dark green mixture, which is sap green plus cerulean green plus a little bit of Winsor blue green shade. So I'm just squinting my eyes and looking out for these darker areas. And let the colors mix with each other on the paper. Even on the edges. And now I take my clean damp brush and start lifting off all the veins. So I do this 2 to 3 times if the painting is wet. Once the painting starts to dry a little, then the lifting becomes more easier. So every time just wash your brush and dab it on a towel, and with a damp brush go on your painting and lift off that vein. And these veins are not super white, so I have not masked them off. So it's easier for us to lift rather than masking every vein off. So I continue like this till my painting allows me to, and then once it dries, I stop lifting. So I continue like this in all the sections of the leaf. You can make as many sections as you want. Like this, I went over the entire leaf and left enough highlights. And I leave this to dry. So after my painting is dried, I erase off all the pencil lines because we don't need them now, and I'll be removing the masking fluid as well. So I'm just using my regular eraser over here. You can even use your rubber cement picker. So very gently I remove all the pencil lines and the masking fluid. And you have to do this when the painting is completely dry. So the next step is I take my lifting brush and I'll be removing some of the veins that we were not able to lift when the painting was wet. So I just wet my brush and wriggle over the vein that I want to lift, and I just dab it with a tissue. And you can even, at this stage, you can even clean off all your edges and do basically all the cleaning work before we go in with the second layer of painting. So I'm lifting off this vein here as well. So now in the second layer, I start painting all the details. I start by thinning down these veins. I'm using our same light green mix but very watery at this stage, and I'm working directly on dry paper. And I'll be working in all those individual compartments that we have created, working around those highlights. And when I go near the highlights, I just take my damp brush and soften all the colors around it. So I'm using my number 3 brush over here, which has a fine point. So I'm able to get a nice thin vein. This layer has a lot of details going on, and I work very slowly and meticulously, working on dry paper and then just leaving all those highlighted areas. Use very watery transparent washes so that your painting doesn't look opaque at the end of the painting. Like this, and when I reach my highlights, I just use a damp brush to go over them. With a damp brush, I'm just softening all the highlights. I adjust my mixes. So wherever I see dark areas, I just add our dark green mixture to it. And in the lighter areas, I add more of lemon yellow. This work requires a lot of patience, so just zone off from everything and paint this in a very relaxing way. This is a fun part for me. I really enjoy this type of work. So start with very light washes, and then when it dries, you can go over it with one more layer. And I'm working wet on dry here just to get more control, but you can work wet on wet also. And in this layer, you can correct all your mistakes. If you have got any watercolor blooms, then you can just correct all those mistakes in this second layer. And I'm removing that deposit of color, just wriggling over it to remove that, and then just softening it with my damp brush. So sections by sections, you finish off the entire leaf in this way. Keep on changing your mixes according to the reference picture. Somewhere it will be more of yellow, somewhere it will be more of your darker green. But keep the mixes very light and transparent. Adding a little bit more darker green here. And then with a damp brush, I'm just softening it. Same thing here. You can downsize your brush if you want, but be very careful near your veins. And then just soften it. So we have got a lot of lifting work to do in this leaf. That is the reason I've kept my mixes very simple. So same thing on this section of the leaf. And I finished the whole leaf in the same manner. And the highlighted areas, just soften it with your damp brush. So now we are going to paint these veins and push them back into the paper. So I'm using a very yellow, light yellow green mixture over here, and I paint all over all the veins except for which were very bright. I just went over it with my damp brush. But as you can see, the veins have all gone into the leaf. They are not standing out. And the same way, I'm going to paint some of the highlights which are not completely white with a mixture of cobalt blue. Just cobalt blue, very watery mix as you can see. And I'm just going to paint some of them with this blue mix, which are not that stark white. And this will make a lot of difference to your painting. So leaving some of them as just the white of the paper. So after the painting was completely dry, I just felt that some areas required a little bit of more blue. So I'm mixing more of Winsor blue green shade to my green mix. And I apply this very watery glaze over those areas. So at any time you can change your mixes like this. And with this we finished this painting. So I hope you enjoyed the preview of this tutorial. This full-length real-time tutorial is already published on my Patreon. So if you're interested in this technique, please do join me over there. And this is the finished painting. I removed it from the board. So if you like this painting, then do subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video then. Bye.